I got to admit it, friends, I'm a bit of a football junkie. You can pray for me if you wish, but when there's an NFL football game or even a CFL football game on television, I'm there. I just absolutely love it. I have always done so, played it in high school and university, and whenever I run into a football player, not literally, but here in the studio, I'm thrilled just to be in the presence. And one such is Corwin Anthony, whose wife was here some time ago, and some of you may remember that interview that Moira did with her book, Unfavorable Odds. A world-class gymnast, national champion, remarkable young woman, who is married to Corwin, and you have two sons.
Two boys.
Two boys. How old are your boys?
They're 15 and 13 now.
Whoa. Are either of them showing athletic predisposition?
Oh yeah, both of them. Both of them are pretty good athletes. My youngest is the football player of the family,
right.
And my oldest enjoys basketball and other things, computers as well.
Wow, wow, wow. So, Corwin, let's talk about sports for a little while, and then we'll talk about your journey. You played also at UCLA, right?
Yes, played in the late 80s.
Yeah.
And played tight end.
Did you get to any bowl games?
Yes, we went to the Freedom Bowl our first year, the Aloha Bowl, and the Cotton Bowl. That was the best year that we had.
The Cotton Bowl would be the biggest of those bowls.
Yeah, I did make the Rose Bowl. We were ranked #1 in the nation. Troy Aikman was our quarterback in the 1988, I believe, and we lost to Drew Bledsoe, I believe, in Washington, and went to the Cotton Bowl instead of the Rose Bowl.
Now, I probably watched you play and didn't know that I was watching Corwin Anthony, at least that I would get to meet you one day. So you were catching passes from Troy Aikman.
Yes, yeah. As a matter of fact, some trivia for your audience is I caught Troy Aikman's last college touchdown pass in the Cotton Bowl. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's my claim to fame.
So when you see him now as a commentator on Fox Sports, you're hearing from a friend.
Yeah. He was a great
I'm
leader.
amazed at the size of the guy's hands.
Oh,
huge hands.
Yeah.
Little wonder he held that football so well.
Yeah, and he probably has the best ball that a quarterback can throw that I've caught from. And I've caught from Brett Favre and Jim Everett and Ken O'Brien, all those great quarterbacks in Troy. His accuracy is unmatched.
Is Brett Favre going to come back, or is he finally retiring?
I think he's done. He's embarrassing me. You know, he's 42 and still out there, and I can't believe how he can still go with that body.
He's as tough as nails. I mean, some of the hits he takes. In fact, I've been really fascinated lately with the incidence of head injuries. Like, I've been watching football all my life. I don't recall there being so many head injuries. What do you suppose is behind it?
I think guys are getting bigger and stronger and faster.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's going to happen. The helmet, the technology is probably not keeping up with the power in this game, you know.
Do you suppose it would help if the equipment was softened somewhat instead of being like armor?
Well, not with head injuries, you know. Yeah, I don't know.
New kind of helmet or something.
You know, I think, you know, the league is trying to set some different laws, you know, some rules to try to help protect players. I mean, they see that these injuries are increasing, so, you know, the hits, that all the fines the guys have been getting this year for the hits, you know, that's their way of trying to protect as best they can.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know, I'm a big rugby fan because of my work in Africa. I spent a lot of time watching South African rugby. You know, rugby is so huge.
Oh, yeah.
South Africa and New Zealand and Australia especially, and then you've got Britain, you got Wales, you got Ireland, Scotland. I mean, huge rugby interest. These guys play with no helmet at all, no equipment at all.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And they're as big as you are, but I guess they must hit in a different way.
Yeah, they probably do. They probably play like, you know, park, you know, football, you know, with no equipment, so you
sort of have to hit on an angle instead of hitting head on. In terms of the size and the speed, to what do you credit that? Better nutrition, better training?
You know, probably both.
Yeah.
You know, I think the training is definitely improved, but I don't know. It might be just in the water. You know, because even back in the day in the NFL, the guys, they were a lot smaller. You have offensive linemen that were 220 pounds.
Yeah.
And now, you know, that's a linebacker.
Which NFL teams did you play for?
Very briefly for the LA Rams. I just dated myself. And the New York Jets. Then I was traded to Green Bay in '92, and I got cut at the end of camp.
What was it like playing in Green Bay?
It was fun.
I mean, it's like you're playing in a freezer. Green Bay is north of much of Canada, at least in terms of southern Ontario.
Yeah.
But the fans have such a, I mean, it's like a religion for them.
Yeah, that's the first thing I think about when I think of Green Bay is how the entire city has really just supported this team. When I first was traded there from the Jets, my first day going to practice, an 8-year-old kid hollered out my name. Right?
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, he had read the small print in the newspaper that this new, about their new acquisition, and he became my bicycle guy. The kids give the football players their bicycles, and they ride the bicycles across the parking lot to the practice field.
Right.
So he took care of me the rest of the time I was there.
The whole team rides bicycles across the parking lot?
Yeah, it's a long walk from the locker room to the field, and so these kids are hanging outside the locker room every single day, and the player gives the kid his helmet, and the player rides, and the kid runs alongside the bicycle across the field.
No kidding.
And then they're there waiting for us after practice to bring us back.
Is this just a Green Bay tradition?
Only place I've seen it is in Green Bay.
Did you play with Reggie White?
I played against him. He was when he was in Philadelphia.
Right before he went to Green Bay.
Yeah, and I was in New York.
Were you surprised at his premature death?
Oh, yeah, very much. That was a huge loss.
Wow.
Yeah, very much surprised.
You're also a chaplain these days to the Miami Dolphins?
Well, I used to be. I was their chaplain for the last 10 years, and this past June I've moved on. I oversee the entire pro ministry for Athletes in Action. And so my role is to place chaplains on teams, serve them, raise support for them, encourage them, train them, and identify new places where chaplains are needed.
I think NFL football is the only sport where I've seen so many players from both teams before and especially after a game, sometimes mixing, the two teams together, whoever's won, whoever's lost, they don't care, kneeling down in a circle and praying together.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you suppose there's so many believers in pro football?
Well, I think it's a rough business. And when you are able to come together and you have that bond, and the players who are not believers, they see that bond that these Christian athletes have with one another. And I think it's pretty attractive. And even guys who aren't believers, they respect God.
Yeah.
and they respect the players that are really trying to walk with the Lord. And so they'll join in the prayer. And it's just a way of saying, you know what, God, thank you for allowing us to play this game. We hope that it was glorifying to you in the way we played it, and thank you for our families. And so that's usually what gets prayed after a game. Safe ride home. The home team is the one that leads the prayer, and there's always praying for guys who are injured, and it's just a great ending to a very violent game. So.